Chapter 1996. When countless fans saw that Tangwa really appeared at the club, they didn't do anything extreme. Instead, they watched her walk into the club. Everyone in the club watched the video that she posted. Zhang Yandong looked at the video with mixed feelings. His heart was filled with guilt. He was indeed in the wrong. Even if Xiaogua couldn't see it, he shouldn't have hidden it from her and not brought her to the exhibition. Xiaolian watched the video with a complicated expression on his face. When Tangwa walked in, Zhang Yandong quickly stood up and walked in front of her to support her. Xiaolian felt a little disappointed. She just stared at the two of them blankly. Actually, she had already realized that Zhang Yandong felt more guilty towards Tangwa. He didn't like her at all, but she was just an outsider. They were engaged. She didn't have the right to say anything. "Brother Yandong, are you okay?" "I'm fine, Xiaogua. I didn't think about what happened before and neglected you. I thought that bringing you to the exhibition to see the night luminescent pearl was hurting you. I forgot that you just wanted to accompany me. You didn't have to see the beauty of the night luminescent pearl. It's good that Brother Yandong understands. Then let's film a video and explain it to the fans." Tangwa shook her head. It looked like she was still looking for something. Her unfocused eyes looked at the empty space and said, "Xiaolian, come. Let's go together. It was just a small misunderstanding yesterday. I didn't want it to cause such a big impact." With so many people watching, Xiaolian had no choice but to stand up and stand with Tangwa. Tangwa heard Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian say that there was nothing between them. They were just teammates working together. Xiaolian said that if she had known that it would cause such a huge impact, she would have definitely refused to go to Night Luminescent Pearl. Previously, Zhang Yandong had invited her because the others were not around, so he had casually invited her. He did not want to waste a ticket, so she had gone. Zhang Yandong said the same thing. He said that he was afraid that if he brought Tangwa there, she would be disappointed if she couldn't see the Night Luminescent Pearl. He didn't think it through. As for why he invited Xiaolian, it was really because they were teammates. It was just a casual request. The two of them spoke openly and honestly, without any abnormalities at all. In addition, Zhang Yandong admitted that he had neglected Tangwa and promised that he would be more careful in the future. The angry netizens finally calmed down. The reason why they were so easily appeased was because they didn't want to continue making a fuss. They didn't want to cause any inconvenience to the girl with blindness and affect her. At the end of the day, it was because she was on the weaker side that everyone couldn't bear to see her suffer. This was also the reason why Lu Hong had gone to look for her. Lin Tong stood at the side and looked at the people in the club. They all heaved a sigh of relief. She was very unhappy. She took out her phone and called Lin Xian. She told him everything that had happened. Esports genius? What a hypocrite. I think he obviously doesn't care about Xiaogua. These people are just bullying Xiaogua because she's soft-hearted and can't see. Brother Xian, how's your game training going? Brother Lei said that you're very talented. Although you're not young anymore, he thinks highly of you. When can you play? When the time comes, you must teach Zhang Yandong a lesson. I'm still angry. Lin Xian was silent for a while. Around him, videos about Zhang Yandong were playing. There were new content on his laptop. It was all his summary of hero strategies. I will work hard. Chapter 1997. The people in the club laughed when they saw that the public opinion on the internet had changed for the better. Lu Hong suggested that they go for lunch later to have a good gathering and to thank Tangwa properly, but she rejected him. I came here this time because I don't want Brother Yandong to continue being attacked. After all, that wasn't my original intention. Tangwa sat on the stool and said calmly, I still have to say the same thing. Brother Yandong, you need to consider our relationship. I feel that we don't have the atmosphere of a couple. Think about it carefully. Do you still need to continue with your relationship with me? Xiaogua, Brother Yandong, think about it carefully. This sentence will be effective before we get married. Please remember, don't choose to be with me because you feel guilty. What I need is not your guilt, but your love. The originally joyous atmosphere was washed away in an instant. Tangwa smiled faintly. She was unhappy now, so there was no need for everyone to be happy. Tangwa wanted to leave with Lin Tong, and Zhang Yandong chased after them. Tangwa rejected him and told him to train hard. The others didn't say anything, but Tong Huai, who always spoke without thinking, quickly said, "You have to complete the act. If people see you leaving alone, Yin Dong will be scolded badly. Everyone was on your side when you caused such a huge commotion on the internet." Lin Tong turned around and glared at Tong Huai. "If you don't know how to speak, then give your tongue to someone who needs it." Tong Huai was frightened by Lin Tong's glare. He turned around and sat aside, not saying anything. "Then Brother Yin Dong, send me back." The atmosphere became extremely awkward again. Xiaolian quickly said, "Xiaogua, are you angry with me? I promise that there's nothing between Jiang Yandong and me. There's nothing between us." "I'm not angry with you. I'm angry with Brother Yin Dong. I feel that I'm not important in his heart. That's why I asked him to reconsider our relationship." Not long after Jiang Yandong left with Tanghua, Tong Huai couldn't help but say, "Isn't that too pretentious? What else does she want?" This time, because of her, Yin Dong and Xiaolian were scolded badly by others. Yet, she did not give up and continued to cause trouble with Yin Dong. "She is really too insensible. You're talking too much. Let Yin Dong handle this matter. What's the point of saying so much?" When Yunyang said, he looked at the depressed Xiaolian and patted her shoulder. "Xiaolian, don't be sad. We all believe that you didn't do it on purpose." Xiaogua couldn't see, so she would definitely think more about it. Besides, she sacrificed so much for Jiang Yandong, so it's inevitable that she feels insecure. Everyone in the club, except for Coach Lu Hong, was comforting Xiaolian. He took a puff of his cigarette and recalled the scene in the cafe when he talked to Tanghua. He was sure that what Tanghua said was true. She asked Jiang Yandong to reconsider. Did she do anything? No, she really didn't do anything. To be honest, if Jiang Yandong knew how to avoid arousing suspicion and did not lie to her, this wouldn't have happened today. Ever since that incident, Tanghua and Jiang Yandong were very unfamiliar with each other. Even though Jiang Yandong was much more attentive and came back early, it seemed that everything could not go back to the past. "Xiaogua, maybe we can talk?" Tanghua hugged a pillow and sat on the sofa. "Talk about what? Has Brother Yin Dong thought it through?" At this moment, Jiang Yandong's phone rang. Chapter 1998. Tanghua could sense that there was something wrong with Jiang Yandong's aura. She remembered that the clock had rung 10 minutes ago. Then the time now was around 9:10 p.m. Jiang Yandong's aura seemed to be getting more and more unstable, and there was a faint hint of anxiety. "Dear host, Old Man Zhao's matter must have been exposed. It's been so long, and the suitable evidence and stolen goods should be almost there." "Is that so? I knew it." Xiaolian was sobbing on the other end of the line, and Jiang Yandong had even walked to the door. "I couldn't hear what happened after that." The system laughed secretly. "I heard it." Xiaolian was crying as she called Jiang Yandong, saying that something had happened to her grandfather. The reason why she didn't call anyone else was that she and Old Man Xiao were the only ones left in the Xiao clan. Even if she had other people's contact information, in her heart, Jiang Yandong was probably the most important person. At this moment, Jiang Yandong's voice sounded in Tanghua's ears. "Don't worry, I'll be right there." Tanghua sat on the sofa and maintained a smile. She even asked, "Brother Yin Dong, who was it?" "A team member." Jiang Yandong subconsciously lied. He hung up the phone and walked in front of Tanghua. "I need to go out for a while. Let's talk about those things later, okay? Xiaogua, please believe me. I'm willing to take care of you for the rest of my life." "What's the matter? Why are you in such a hurry? It's already past 9 p.m. "I have no choice. I have to go." Jiang Yandong didn't explain further. He hurried upstairs, changed his clothes, took the car keys, and went out. Hearing the sound of the car starting up and leaving, Tanghua yawned. "I can finally sleep. Jiang Yandong should be back very late every night now." "Tongzi, tell me the details of Xiaolian's situation." "Xiaolian knows that Old Man Xiao has been arrested. I heard that if she wants to atone for her crime, she has to hand over those things. However, according to the grapevine, even if Old Man Xiao taught him what he had, he might be sentenced to life imprisonment or even death. But according to the situation in their circle, I reckon it'll be forever." Xiaolian didn't know what to do at the moment. She could only call Jiang Yandong for help, although Jiang Yandong couldn't help much. "Where's that Old Man Xiao?" He has already been secretly escorted away. The higher-ups know that he has some ability, so they asked the special department to escort him. The people from these special departments are different from some motley crew on the internet. They are internal and don't do bad things. They are in charge of such sneaky behavior. Tanghua was puzzled. Then why didn't they care about these things before? After all, they have status. There are many things that they have to take care of. This old man Xiao is very cunning and has an insider. It's impossible for them to let so many people take care of him for a night luminescent pearl. Tanghua came back to her senses and smiled. That's right. No matter how precious the night luminescent pearl is, it can't be compared to some more important things. Tongzi, I can tell that you are very envious of other people's status in the organization. You can't see old man Xiao clearly. Don't forget that you don't have a serial number now. The system was a little angry. Dear host, it's difficult to unify. Didn't 222 and 111 send you an email? System. I contacted them before, but there was no important news. The boss of the Space-Time Bureau still hasn't returned, so the matter of my serial number has been delayed. I don't know what they are busy with and what they are busy with. Sister Tang Jiao and my brother Tang Kuei, how are they doing now? Digression. See you tomorrow. Chapter 1999. Previously, when the 3-2 sent me an email, they said that they were in the apocalypse. The host has transmigrated through so many worlds, and so has the Tang Jiao. According to the 3-2s, the Tang Jiao has matured a lot over the years. Even in the apocalypse, she can handle it with ease. The 3-2s expressed that they were very happy. The system explained the Tang Jiao situation. As for your brother, he was in a cultivation world. That world is very dangerous, but Tang Kuei is not someone to be trifled with. From the words in the 3-2's foot emails, I can feel his fear of Tang Kuei. I guess that he is a killing god in the cultivation world. That's good. Tongzi, when you are free, pay more attention to them and make sure that they are safe. As for my brother being a killing god, someone must have provoked him. Don't you think so? The system was stunned for a moment and quickly said, the host is right. Your brother is a reasonable person. If no one provoked him, why would he kill someone? That night, Zhang Yandong did not come back. He also did not call Tanghua. Perhaps he had forgotten that she was waiting for him in the villa. Of course, Tanghua did not wait for him. After he left, she went asleep. However, in the middle of the night, she asked the system to check the time and help her call Zhang Yandong. She did not know what he was busy with, but he did not pick up. In the morning, after Tanghua had breakfast, she took out her phone and called Zhang Yandong. Still, no one picked up. Today was the weekend, and Zhang Yandong did not have classes at school. She could only call the club. Yandong is not at home? When Yunyang asked in surprise. I thought that he was going to accompany you at home today. I didn't expect that he was not at home. I just arrived at the club. Let me ask the others if something happened. Last night, around 9 p.m., Brother Yindong received a call saying that something happened to a member of the club. He hurriedly changed his clothes and left with his car keys. Later, very late at night, I called him many times, but no one picked up. She called him again this morning, but there was still no answer. Today is the weekend, so I had no choice but to call you to ask if something happened to the club. Why didn't Brother Yindong come back last night? When Yunyang turned on the loudspeaker so that the members around him could hear Tanghua's words, they looked at each other and confirmed their team members. They found that apart from Zhang Yandong, only Xiao Yin was absent. Thinking of this, they felt a little uneasy. The two of them didn't come at the same time. Could there be some kind of connection? Coach, do you know what happened to Yindong and Xiaolian? At this time, it was only a little past midnight. When Yunyang covered the microphone almost instinctively, not wanting Tanghua to hear this, Lu Hong shook his head. Chapter 2000. As for one Yunyang's excuse, Tanghua did not expose it. She did not believe that these people did not think that Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian were not there, and that they might be together. Now, the people in the club were probably thinking of ways to contact the two of them. Let's make a post. If it's really important, of course I have to share it with everyone. The system looked at it silently. Tanghua took out her phone and started to record a video. Brother Yin Dong received a call yesterday saying that something happened to a member of the club. He hasn't answered until now. I don't know what happened, but I'm really worried. I hope he's fine. I just called the club to ask, but there seems to be no news. If you know anything, please let me know. It's really inconvenient to do many things when you can't see. When this post was posted, it caused another sensation. Zhang Yandong disappeared overnight, causing many fans to spontaneously search for him. They all ran to the club's official Weibo to ask what was going on. She was just someone who was worried about Zhang Yandong. She did not know what this post would cause. Tanghua did this on purpose. Indeed, not long after, she received a call from the club's members. They questioned her why she posted such a post, saying that it would affect Zhang Yandong negatively. Tanghua replied calmly, "I'm just worried about Brother Yandong. There's no news from your side. I hope everyone can see it and help me find him. If Brother Yandong does not appear after 24 hours, I will call the police." Hearing Tanghua say that she wanted to call the police, everyone in the club was speechless. The person who called her was Tong Huai. He was so angry that he did not know what to say. However, they could not contact Zhang Yandong. Previously, they could still get through, but now, his phone was switched off. They guessed that it was probably out of battery. They did not know what Zhang Yandong was doing. Everyone was looking for Zhang Yandong, worried about his safety. Seeing that Zhang Yandong still did not appear, the people in the club panicked and no longer cared about Tanghua. Later, the club was even more anxious than Tanghua and directly chose to call the police. However, not long after the police were called, Zhang Yandong appeared. He was also a little annoyed that his cell phone had run out of battery. Yesterday, when he found out that something had happened to Xiaolian, he went over and accompanied Xiaolian for the whole night. Looking at Xiaolian crying helplessly, he couldn't just leave. He was worried about leaving her alone. In the end, he drove Xiaolian to the beach to relax. The two of them sat by the beach for the whole night. Hearing Xiaolian say that something had happened to her grandfather, Zhang Yandong didn't know what to do. He couldn't help her with these things, so he could only silently accompany her and comfort her. Chapter 2001. Zhang Yandong explained to the people in the club that something had happened to Xiaolian's grandfather. When he received her call, he was worried that something might happen to her, so he went over to accompany her for the night. The phone was left in the car, so he did not hear it. Perhaps there were too many people calling, so the phone's battery was drained, so it was turned off. When the people in the club heard that something had happened to Xiaolian's grandfather, they showed some sympathy. But when they thought of the current situation, they were troubled. Xiaolian naturally did not tell them what had happened to old man Xiao. She only said that it was a very serious matter, and his life might be in danger. The people in the club were not in a position to ask, but they did not blame Xiaolian as much as before. Everyone went to comfort Xiaolian, asking if there was anything they could do to help her. Xiaolian quickly shook her head and refused. These people could not help her at all. Grandpa had been taken away secretly. She did not know where he was. Previously, some people with special identities had come to the villa to search and took away all the things that Grandpa had hidden. And they also told her that they were checking all the assets under Grandpa's name. If there was something wrong with the villa, it would be confiscated. Yesterday, she had panicked and called Zhang Yandong. If not for the fact that she did not know where Grandpa had been taken, she would have gone to kidnap him on impulse. Later, Zhang Yandong's appearance calmed her down. Those seniors told her that the other party had sufficient evidence. Those who had taken Grandpa away were the same kind of people as them. In fact, they were even more powerful. They told her to calm down and not to kidnap people for no reason. It would be best if she could find all the things that Grandpa had stolen and hand them over. She might be able to get a lighter sentence. As long as there was nothing wrong with the assets under Grandpa's name, it would be best if she sold all her assets and handed them over. She might have a better chance. Xiaolian felt that the whole world was collapsing. Grandpa was so powerful. How could he have been caught? Could it be that someone had framed Grandpa? She wanted to know all these. Why did she have to hand over all their things? The things that Grandpa had stolen were not clean in the first place. The people in the club didn't know that someone had already posted photos of Xiaolian and Zhang Yandong together in the club. The innocence that Zhang Yandong had just proven was gone again. Xiao Guo, there's news about Zhang Yandong. It was a call from Lin Tong. Just now, he and Xiaolian appeared at the club together. Many people saw them. Xiaogua, I think that Zhang Yandong simply doesn't place you in his eyes. I'll say something that I shouldn't say, but you won't be happy with him. For the sake of Xiaolian, he didn't say anything and left you alone at home. He couldn't get through to you and made you worry for nothing. He doesn't have you in his heart. Tanghua wasn't surprised by Lin Tong's call. She replied calmly, I got it. Did Brother Yin Dong appear at the club with Xiaolian? That's right. Do you suspect that I'm lying to you? I won't get any candy for lying to you. Lin Tong was furious. Many people on the internet are talking about Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian. They won't be able to clear their names. Xiaogua, don't make any statements this time. That Zhang Yandong was simply infuriating. Don't leave. I'll come over and take you to the club. Tanghua agreed. Not long after, Lin Tong arrived. Lin Xian and Lin Li also came along. Chapter 2002. Brother Xian and Brother Lei are here too? Lin Tong explained. I'm just worried that the two of us won't be able to handle the situation. There are so many people in the club, so I asked my two cousins to come and support you. You are my friend. How can I let you be wronged? Little Tong is right. You're Little Tong's friend, so you're also my sister. We definitely have to support you, Lin Yidao said angrily. This is Zhang Yandong's way of doing things. No, sister, whatever you want to do, just do it. I know you're smart, and you know how to choose. The current Zhang Yandong isn't suitable for you. What he's done these few times is hurting you. You're still young and he's still young. There will be many changes in this period of time, Lin Xian added. In this world, there's more than one Zhang Yandong who deserves your love. Thank you. I know what to do. The few of them brought Tanghua to the club. When they arrived at the club and saw the scene inside, Lin Xian and the other two were furious. Lin Tong couldn't take it anymore. Zhang Yandong, our Xiaogua was worried about you the whole night. It's good that you're back now. You seem to have forgotten about Xiaogua's existence and are even comforting her. Right now, the internet is abuzz with the news that you disappeared for a night and came back with Xiaolian. Zhang Yandong, how are you going to explain this time? Zhang Yandong hurriedly walked in front of Tanghua. Xiaogua, this is a misunderstanding. Lin Tong didn't say anything else. Misunderstanding? Even if it was a misunderstanding, how could a man with a fiancée go out with another girl in the middle of the night? Was that appropriate? Brother Yin Dong, why don't we call off the engagement? From today onwards, you are you and I am me. There were many things in the past that I did willingly. You don't have to feel guilty. I'll let you go and you'll let me go. Zhang Yandong was a little flustered. No, Xiaogua, we agreed that I would take care of you for the rest of your life. You only want to take care of me for the rest of your life because of guilt, not because you like me and want to be with me for the rest of your life. Tanghua's expression was very calm. Brother Yindong, I don't want to experience what happened last night again. Can you promise that you won't go out if you receive a call from Xiaolian in the future? Can you guarantee that Xiaolian will stay by my side instead of comforting her if she is wronged? Can you? Zhang Yandong was at a loss for words. He wanted to say that he could. But what happened last night was a slap to his face. If Xiaolian called him again and told him that something had happened, he really had no choice but to go. Xiaogua, Xiaolian and I are innocent. The reason why I was so anxious to go out yesterday was because something happened to her grandfather. I was afraid that something would happen to her. Tanghua smiled and asked, then why do you have to be the one comforting her? Why did she choose to call you first when something happened to her family? In order to comfort her, I called you more than 100 times in one night, but you didn't pick up a single one. Because you didn't come back for an entire night, I was about to call the police. When you came back, the first thing you went back to was the club. You didn't come home to explain to me, and I had to come to the club. Brother Yin Dong, you don't have me in your heart. Call off the engagement. I am an incomparably heavy burden to you. I am a selfish person. The person I like, my fiancé, can't be good to other girls, no matter what. My people can only think of me and be good to me. Chapter 2003. Maybe in your eyes, I don't see the big picture and don't understand things. But today, I want to tell you that I'm actually such a person. Previously, I was enduring because I was afraid that I would cause trouble for Brother Yin Dong. So, I tried my best to think clearly about everything so that I wouldn't cause trouble for you. But later, I found out that my understanding was only exchanged for your neglect. Brother Yin Dong, ask yourself, do you have me in your heart? Zhang Yandong opened his mouth but didn't know how to answer. Did he? Of course he did. Xiao Gua, I believe that Brother Yin Dong still has a place for me in his heart, but it's only a very small part. I'm not as important as your club, your dream, or even your teammates. Tangwa took a deep breath and continued, maybe Brother Yin Dong is a very outstanding esports genius and a good teammate, but to me, he's not a good fiancé. I think I should let go. Because we're really not suitable. Brother Yin Dong, go and pursue your dream in the future. I'm 10 this year and you're 19 this year. We're both in our prime. Why should we bind you with such a heavy burden? Maybe many people here are already dissatisfied with me because I'm not a sensible and selfish person. Xiaogua, it's actually not that serious. To me, it's very serious. Brother Yin Dong, I need a lover who only loves me, dotes on me, and only cares about me. He doesn't want a fiancé who puts me at the bottom of the pecking order. Sensing that Zhang Yandong had nothing to say, Tangwa said firmly, I'm not here to discuss the cancellation of the engagement with you, but to inform you. Because I don't want to marry you, I have the right to cancel the engagement. Zhang Yandong, you're free. After that, Tangwa grabbed Lin Tong's hand. Little Tong, let's go. I want to go back to the villa. Tell Nanny-chan to help me pack up. I should go back to my own home. Actually, it doesn't matter where I live. Madam Chen cooks for me, and I take care of myself. The chauffeur sends me to the mall, to the opera house, to the club. Listening to Tangwa's every word, Zhang Yandong's face turned pale. Tangwa's words brought him back to reality. It was as if he had never been a part of her life. I will inform my parents, uncle, and auntie about this matter. I believe they will understand. Since they were not compatible, there was no need to force it. You're upset, and so am I. It's better to end it as soon as possible. System. The host is probably happy right now. She finally got rid of the scumbag and is single again. She can flirt with the bald guy now. Look at the corners of her mouth that were accidentally curved. Tangwa, if you call off your engagement with Yin Dong now, aren't you making him feel unjust? Tong Hui couldn't help but ask after seeing the situation on the internet. Lu Hong wanted to stop her, but it was too late. This girl was already pitiful enough. Weren't these words stabbing a knife into her heart? She had already done her best. He could also see that Zhang Yandong and her were indeed not compatible. Just last night, Zhang Yandong had gone to comfort Xiaolian and disappeared for an entire night. He had missed over 100 of her calls. After he appeared, he didn't even tell her that he was safe. Hence, he agreed to call off the engagement. If it continued, it wouldn't be good for either of them. When Tangwa heard Tong Hui's words, she turned around. Brother Yin Dong, you have to learn to bear the consequences of your actions. I won't announce the cancellation of the engagement to the public. I'll give you some time to recover. Do you want me to help you explain to your fans what you did last night and that it was all a misunderstanding? Chapter 2004. Tangwa's words made all the club members' faces burn, except for Tong Hui. He walked up and said, Things got out of hand because you posted that video and said you were worried about Yin Dong. If it wasn't for you, would things have gotten out of hand? Lin Tong quickly pulled Tangwa behind her and said angrily, Brother, I can't take it anymore. Brother Xian, don't you know martial arts? Can you help me beat this guy up? He's really asking for it. As soon as Lin Tong finished speaking, Lin Xian was already beside Tong Hui. He grabbed Tong Hui's collar and punched him in the face. The club members wanted to stop him, but they were no match for Lin Xian. Anyone who tried to stop him would be punched in the stomach. Lin Xian only wanted to hit Tong Hui's face. To be honest, he had wanted to do it for a long time. However, he was in a bad position. If he acted rashly, people would criticize Tangwa. She was already blind and had lost all the glory in the world. He didn't want people to talk about her behind her back. Now, Lin Tong had shouted that Lin Tong was his cousin. What a good excuse to help his cousin beat up a scumbag that she couldn't stand. Although he had only used 10% of his strength, He had added 30% of his hidden energy to the punch. Tong Hui might look fine, but he would be in pain for a few days. System. Host, I feel that your little bald head is using his power to avenge a personal grudge. He's using the excuse of standing up for his cousin, but in reality, he's fighting for you. He's a martial arts expert, but he actually used his hidden energy on an ordinary person. You can see how much he hates Tong Hui. Tong Hui is really annoying. Every time I hear him speak, I want to cut his tongue out. If only this was the cultivation world, his tongue would have been cut off long ago. Lin Xian's anger subsided, and he threw Tong Hui aside. Shut up if you don't know how to talk. After Tong Hui was beaten up, he finally had some peace and quiet. The club members also knew that Lin Xian might be a martial arts expert, so they didn't dare to provoke him. Xiaolian looked at all of this and shouted, "All right, stop fooling around. It's all my fault. If you want to do anything, just do it to me. Don't blame Jiang Yandong. He was just trying to comfort me. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have called him." Many people sympathized with Xiaolian. After all, something had happened to her grandfather. Now, Tanghua had brought people to cause trouble. But this time, Lu Hong did not side with his team members. He walked over to Tanghua and said, "I'm sorry. It's all Yin Dong's fault this time. Are you serious about breaking off your engagement with him?" "I'm serious." "All right." Lu Hong nodded. "I'll talk to him about this. I don't think the two of you are suitable for each other. Xiaogua, go back. You didn't do anything wrong. It was Jiang Yandong's fault." Chapter 2005. Lu Hong heard Wen Yunyang's words and said, "Let's be honest. Let's just say that something happened to Xiaolian and Yin Dong want to look for her because he was worried. Yin Dong would like to apologize to everyone and say that it was his fault for not thinking things through. He should have informed the entire team and gone to help Xiaolian." Lu Hong felt that this was the right time. Being secretive would only make people look down on Jiang Yandong. He might as well just say that he was worried about Xiaolian. They were teammates, and they were teammates who worked well together. It was normal for him to be nervous when something happened to Xiaolian. It was just that he didn't think things through and caused a lot of trouble for everyone. Although this answer would still cause a lot of people to scold him, but he felt that it was better for their long-term development. Being willing to take responsibility for not thinking things through was better than being secretive and letting people speculate and smear Jiang Yandong's reputation. They were in the esports industry, and it was different from the entertainment industry. When Jiang Yandong and Xiaolian fought together and won, the fans would slowly forget about it. The fans would slowly forget about this matter. As long as Jiang Yandong could bear with it, it wouldn't affect him too much. "I don't think so. If we do that, everyone will scold Xiaolian." Wen Yunyang was the first to object, followed by the others. Tong Hui was the most vocal and rejected Lu Hong's suggestion. Tong Hui even said, "Boss, I feel like you're siding with outsiders now. Yin Dong is a member of our team." Yin Dong probably didn't think too much about what happened to Xiaolian yesterday. Didn't he tell Tanghua clearly before he left? He only disappeared for a night, and she created such a big news. She's just petty and jealous. That's why things turned out this way. Yin Dong was just being kind. There's no need to apologize. Lu Hong felt a headache whenever he saw Tong Hui. When he heard him speak, he had the urge to hit him. Did these youngsters understand the logic? If Jiang Yandong didn't have a fiancée, it wouldn't matter where he went at night. But now he had abandoned his fiancée to spend time with the opposite sex. Everything was wrong. Moreover, his relationship with Tanghua was special. If he didn't handle it well, it would affect him negatively. "Let's do as boss says." Jiang Yandong woke up from what Tanghua had said before she left. "It's my fault for not thinking things through and making Xiaogua upset. Yandong, this isn't a big deal. If Xiaolian had called any of us yesterday, we would have gone over." Speaking of this, Tong Hui had complained. Why didn't Xiaolian didn't call him? If she had called him, there wouldn't be so much trouble. In the end, have happened to what's have Lin's? Have some SSAA, S to haves not upset, Xiaolian have AA. For do not for Xiaolian's to himself. Everyone told him that he already had a fiancée. If he were to encounter such a situation in the future, He should inform the team first so that everyone could resolve it together. They should know how to avoid suspicion when it came to the opposite sex. They also said that they didn't want to see Tanggui upset or anxious because of him. Zhang Yandong said that such a thing wouldn't happen again. Xiaolian's situation wasn't so good. Chapter 2006. Although she apologized, the number of people scolding her did not decrease. Most of them warned her not to call someone who was already taken if anything happened in the middle of the night. Xiaolian looked at those comments and was so angry that her eyes turned red. Thus, the whole morning, the members of the team comforted Xiaolian. Fortunately, Zhang Yandong's side had stabilized, so the impact on the team was relatively small. As for Xiaolian, everyone would forget about this matter in a few days. When Xiaolian shone in the competition, everyone would know how outstanding she was. Zhang Yandong thought that Tanggui said those words out of anger. He did not expect that when he returned that day, he would find that Tanggui had already moved everything and returned to the villa next door. He anxiously went to find Tanggui, wanting to explain something. "Brother Yandong, I've said it very clearly. I came to find you today to inform you about the cancellation of the engagement, not to discuss it with you." "Xiaogua, is there no way to salvage the situation?" Tanggui stood at the door and said calmly, "No, because in Brother Yandong's heart, I will never be the most important. In the past, I placed you in the most important position. After a long time, I feel that it's not fair and I'm not happy. Since you're not happy, then don't continue. I've already informed Mom and Dad, as well as Uncle and Auntie. They replied that they will try their best to come back this month to resolve this matter." When Zhang Yandong heard that, he knew that there was no way to salvage the situation. "I really didn't do it on purpose yesterday. It's just that Xiaolian. As for what happened to Xiaolian, I don't care," Tanggui said. "I only know that my fiancé went to spend the night with another woman in the middle of the night. Whether it's innocent or not, to me, it's unacceptable. Brother Yandong, you don't have to say anything else. Our engagement has been annulled and we are all free people now. In the future, you can go out whenever you want. No one will mind if you go out and play with the opposite sex anymore. Isn't this good? I hope you can reconsider," Zhang Yandong said tiredly. He did not know how to explain that there was really nothing between him and Xiaolian. He was just worried about his teammate. "There's no need to reconsider. Brother Yandong, it's late. I should go to bed." Tanggui closed the door. Zhang Yandong stood outside for a while before he had no choice but to leave. When he returned to the villa, he received a call from Xiaolian. "Zhang Yandong, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that calling you out today would cause you so much trouble. Anyway, I'm really sorry. It's all my fault." Xiaolian's apologetic voice sounded. "Are you okay? How is Xiaogua? Has she forgiven you? She still insists on canceling the engagement with me. I'm really sorry, Zhang Yandong. I didn't expect that it would cause such a big consequence. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's my fault." Xiaogua is more concerned about these things. Thinking of Xiaolian's pitiful look, Zhang Yandong could not blame her. The two of them talked for 20 minutes. Finally, Xiaolian was comforted. Zhang Yandong was ready to go to bed. After a few days of chaos on the internet, peace was restored. This was the age of information. The netizens' memories were very bad, but they realized one thing. Tanggui did not update her status. Chapter 2007. The netizens left messages asking why Tanggui had stopped updating her status and if something had happened. After a few days, there was still no response. They went to Zhang Yandong's status to leave messages, wanting to know how Tanggui was doing. Zhang Yandong called Tanggui and told her about it. That account was created for Brother Yandong. Now that I've decided to annul our engagement, I won't use it anymore. This was Tanggui's reply. Zhang Yandong replied, "But a lot of people are worried about you." Then Brother Yandong, "Please tell everyone that I'm fine." Brother Yandong wouldn't want me to tell everyone that our engagement has been annulled, right? Zhang Yandong choked on his words. If he wanted Tanggui to post that their engagement had been annulled, there would be a huge uproar again. He didn't have much time left with Xiaolian. He couldn't let Xiaolian be scolded again because of this matter. "Okay, I'll help you pass on this message." Jiang Yandong had just spoken when the call was hung up. He held his cell phone and was stunned for a moment. In the past, Tanghua had never hung up on him like this. In the end, he helped Tanghua to tell the netizens that she was safe. Only then did the netizens give up. But they still waited for Tanghua's updates every day. One Chinese website. Come in a short period of time, they had already gotten used to it. Every day, when they had nothing to do, they would watch her videos and listen to her voice. Now that she was no longer new, they could only look at her previous posts. After looking at them a few more times, they realized that almost every post was related to Jiang Yandong. Through her voice and words, they could feel that she liked Jiang Yandong. As they listened, they thought, with such a girl who likes Jiang Yandong so wholeheartedly, it would be unforgivable if he did something wrong to her. Jiang Yandong and Xiaolian continued to train together in the club. However, due to old man Zhao's accident, Xiaolian's condition was not very good. This matter had already been publicized. Currently, many people were looking forward to seeing what kind of results Jiang Yandong's teammate would achieve with the best cooperation. Therefore, the person in charge of the club decided to let Jiang Yandong and Xiaolian spend more time training in the club. Xiaolian didn't want her condition to affect Jiang Yandong. Seeing that everyone was working so hard, their condition was gradually recovering. At present, the seniors she knew were already helping her find the treasures her grandfather had stolen in order to reduce his crime. Anyway, at present, her life was saved. Regarding this, Xiaolian finally heaved a sigh of relief and began to train with peace of mind. It's not fun to stay in the house all day. Come to our club to play. Lin Tong called Tanghua. Tanghua asked, "Won't I disturb your training?" "System, this woman is very fake. Why would I disturb us? Just sit by the side and listen. Also, we don't have to send everyone for every match. Those who don't have to go can just chat by the side. Everyone here likes you very much. They say that your voice is very nice. Everyone asked me to invite you over. Let me tell you, they even heard you play the piano in the past and said that it was very nice." Lin Tong continued, "Come over. There are a lot of your fans here." "All right then. If I keep rejecting them, I'll feel bad." Tanghua finally agreed. "I'll ask Madam Chun to make some snacks and bring them over." On the other end of the phone, /m. .com/want to chat with more like-minded people about. Chapter 2008. Madam Chen accompanied Tanghua to the Lin's Esports Club. After all, she was bringing a lot of snacks today, so Madam Chen had to help her carry them. When they got out of the car, Lin Tong, Lin Xian, and a few others were already waiting at the entrance of the club. Seeing that it was her family's car, they quickly ran up to her. Lin Tong was the fastest. She hurriedly held onto Tanghua's arm. They greeted Madam Chun and took the snacks from her. They told her that they would take good care of Tanghua and let her go home in peace. When it was time, they would send her back and the chauffeur didn't have to come to pick her up. Seeing this, Madam Chen's eyes welled up with tears. Although she had never been to the club, Jiang Yandong's teammates had been to the villa before. Comparing the two, it was clear who treated Miss Xiaogua better. Looking at the young men and women in front of her, they were so close to her Miss Xiaogua that they even came out to pick her up personally. They would smile and say thank you when they ate the snacks she made. It was obvious that they had good upbringing. She remembered that when Jiang Yandong brought people back to the villa for a party, it was noisy the whole night. When she came to clean up in the morning, there were melon seed shells all over the floor, the sofa, everything was a mess. When these teenagers saw her, they didn't say a word and left the villa with their arms around her shoulders. She was hired by Miss Xiaogua's family, not by Jiang Yandong's family. When the two of them got engaged, it was Jiang Yandong who suggested that Miss Xiaogua stay in his villa so that he could take care of her. In fact, other than helping Miss Xiaogua with things that were inconvenient for her, she could take care of herself. And Jiang Yandong didn't take care of her at all. Did he think that by bringing her home, she would be taken care of by him to ease the guilt in his heart? In any case, Madam Chun had never been satisfied with Jiang Yandong. She always felt that this person's actions were different from his words. In fact, she was very happy that the Tanghua wanted to break off the engagement. Seeing that Tanghua had a new friend, Madam Chun smiled as she got into the car. In the car, she texted the family Tang couple, who were busy with their research. She sent them everything she saw. Miss Xiaoguo was living a good life now. She didn't need Zhang Yandong to take care of her. Tangwa didn't know about Madame Qin's rich inner thoughts. She had already been warmly invited in by Lin Tong. They had chosen a seat for her where she could clearly hear everyone's conversation. During this period, no one neglected her. There were always people sitting beside her and talking to her. Most of the people here were from the Lin family. They had set up this club to entertain themselves. Of course, it would be best if they could achieve good results. Therefore, this club was basically established by the Lin family's descendants with their own pocket money. Not to mention that they had their own ways to make money under their own names. They didn't need any sponsorship at all. If there were any big events, how could the Lin family not support the few young ones? Therefore, many people actually hoped to be valued by this club. Unfortunately, the people in this club were in the same circle. It was impossible for outsiders to get in. After all, joining this club was equivalent to getting close to the circle of the rich second generation. Probably no one wouldn't want to join, right? Madame Qin's culinary skills are really good. Next time we go look for Xiaoguo, let's bring her a little gift, Lin Tong said happily as she bit into a snack. Everyone agreed. After eating, he even took her to a famous opera in the evening. In short, he had never neglected her along the way. Looking at these, the system felt very comfortable. Indeed, it was in a good mood when it saw how happy its host was. It made a wish that this team would represent its country in the competition next year. It heard that Xiaolian and Zhang Yandong would be working together for the first time next month. Let it curse for a while. If there were any accidents, In the end, Lin Tong and Lin Xian sent Tang Guo back to the villa together. Chapter 2010. Madame Chun looked at Lin Tong and Lin Xian with a smile on her face. What made her feel even more flattered was that Lin Tong actually brought her a small gift. She said that she liked the snacks she made and specially brought a gift to thank her on behalf of everyone. This made Madame Chun overjoyed. Miss Xiaoguo definitely wouldn't be at a disadvantage if she played with these young men and women. She had to report this good news to Sir and Madame when she went back later. Xiaoguo, Brother Xian, and I will come to pick you up tomorrow. In our club, Brother Xian and I are the most free. The other brothers still have some classes from Monday to Friday. Lin Tong smiled and said, but don't misunderstand. Brother Xian and I don't do proper work because we are the smartest. Brother Xian had already taken the necessary classes when he was on the mountain and graduated long ago. As for me, I graduated long ago. The rest of the brothers aren't as smart as us, so they are busier. Lin Tong's words made people laugh. Before saying goodbye, Lin Xian walked in front of Tangwa and said, why don't I save my number in your phone? If anything happens and you can't find anyone else to help, you can call me. Xiaotong just said that I'm quite free. Other than training and playing games, I have a lot of free time. Okay. Tangwa unlocked her phone and handed it to Lin Xian. Lin Xian took her phone and saved his number, then dialed it. His lips curved, and he put the phone back in Tangwa's hands. Don't worry about troubling me. I'm single, Lin Xian said softly. I don't have plans to date at the moment. You can ask me for help anytime. With that, he held his phone and quickly turned around and walked away. Lin Tong stood at the side and blinked. She looked at her bald cousin quickly getting into the car. She didn't know how to describe it. She said goodbye to Tangwa and quickly got into the car as well. Something was wrong with Brother Xian. That he's single sounded weird. Tangwa took her phone into the house and said to the system, he told me that he's single. That was hilarious. Was he so direct? He was right. He was single. Now that Madam Host is single, it's normal for her to develop something. Sure enough, it was that guy's usual style. Once the host was single again, he couldn't wait to put himself in the position of being by the host's side. Then ask him to come over and help me change the lights next time. The villa hasn't been occupied for a long time, and the lights haven't been used much. They'll break easily. System. He raised both hands in agreement. There were only 3 days left until Zhang Yandong and Xiaolian's debut. The officials of the club and the team had already announced the news. He even made beautiful posters for the two of them. Most people had forgotten about the incident between Tangwa and Zhang Yandong. Of course, If something happened again, they would remember it very quickly. Before that, Tangwa's parents and Jiang Yandong's parents had already come back. Under Tangwa's unyielding attitude of wanting to break off the engagement, both sides ended the engagement peacefully. Tangwa returned to being single. As for Jiang Yandong and Xiaolian's debut, everyone was still looking forward to it. After all, it was the first time in so many years that they saw a female member compete, especially when the club released short videos of them training together, which aroused everyone's enthusiasm. As a result, Xiaolian gained a new wave of fans and was once again the moon surrounded by stars. At the same time, something happened to Tangwa. Brother Xian, what did you get someone to move to my house? A piano. Tangwa paused. I can't play it now. Even though my hand has mostly recovered, it's not as good as before. Also, I can't see. It's for your own entertainment. When you're free, you can play it casually. It's not bad. Lin Xian placed a thick booklet in Tangwa's hands. I had this custom made. See if you can find any musical notes. If there are any problems, let me know. I'll get someone to make it again. Okay. Tangwa replied and asked with a smile, Brother Xian, you're really free. You actually fiddled with these things. But I like it very much. I'm just afraid that you'll be bored. I see that you often listen to piano music and your phone ringtone. You probably like it. So I thought of this idea. Didn't you say that other than your eyes being inconvenient, you're actually a normal person? Since you like it, then do it. No matter if you play it well or not, you'll like it. It's best if you're happy. Chapter 2011. Thank you, Brother Xian. Tangwa sat in front of the piano that was newly placed in the corner of the room. Her fingers landed on the piano keys, and she pressed them lightly. The sound of the piano rang out. The originally quiet room seemed to have suddenly become lively. You're welcome. As long as you like it. Lin Xian stood to the side with a smile in his eyes. He watched as Tangwa's fingers landed on the piano keys continuously. Although the sounds were not coherent, to him, it was the best sound in the world. I haven't touched this for many years. Tangwa said, why didn't I think of using Brother Xian's method in the past? I can't see the notes, but I can touch them. When I play, I can't see the notes, but I can memorize them. Now that I have a lot of time, I can memorize a little every day. In a month, I should be able to memorize a complete piece of music. Lin Xian looked at her happy face and agreed. That's right. He glanced at Tangwa's hands that were placed on the piano keys. Her fingers were still very slender and white, but the faint scars on them could not be ignored. Your hands were injured before, so you might not be as nimble. But this problem can be solved, although it will be more troublesome. Tangwa asked, although I move my fingers often, they can only recover to 75%. After all, I injured my bones before. Is there a better way? Lin Xian moved a chair over and sat beside her. He said softly, I know a kind of massage technique that can help your hand recover to its best condition through the use of acupuncture points and massage. Knowing the massage technique was fake, but being able to cure diseases was real. Lin Xian had a body of internal energy. In this state, he knew that he could use internal energy to channel it into the acupuncture points and slowly improve the flexibility of the fingers. Even if the bones were injured before, they could slowly recover after a long period of internal energy nourishment. It's that magical? Tangwa clearly knew, but she had no intention of exposing him. System, that's great. We can hold hands in broad daylight and massage their knuckles. What a good excuse. This fellow was all-pervasive. There are many magical things in this world, Lin Xian said slowly. To be honest, my parents sent me to live in a temple on the mountain when I was young. What he did every day was basically practice martial arts and read books. The training I'm talking about is not ordinary training, but something that you all think is very magical. The kind that flies over eaves and vaults over walls? Yes, you can understand it that way. Although it's not as exaggerated as in the TV series, you can fly all the time. However, with the help of other external forces or walls, it was still very easy to climb tall buildings. As for the acupuncture points I'm talking about, I'm using my internal energy to stimulate them. Although it will take a long time, I can guarantee that your hand will definitely recover to its best state. Not only that, he had already called his master and asked him to prescribe some medicine. When the time came to use it, it would be twice the result with half the effort. It could also help to fade the scar on her hand. He looked at Tangwa's lifeless eyes and frowned. As for her eyes, unfortunately, he couldn't think of any solution. Then I'll have to trouble you in the future, Brother Xian. How could Tangwa not agree to such a good thing? It would be a waste if she didn't flirt with a handsome guy who came knocking on her door. Chapter 2012. Ever since Lin Xian told Tangwa that he could help her regain the mobility of her fingers, he had been in and out of the villa frequently. The young men and women of the Lin family all knew about this. When they heard that Lin Xian could help Tangwa regain the mobility of her fingers, they were very happy, and Lin Xian would come to the villa every afternoon to massage Tangwa's fingers. Although Tangwa could not see his expression, she could feel that he was bald and had a serious look on his face. Lin Xian's hair was originally a little long. Perhaps he was used to being bald since he was young. A few days ago, the system told her that he had gone to the hairdresser and shaved off all the hair that had grown out. How is it? Does it hurt? Lin Xian held Tangwa's hand and gently pinched her joints. He carefully transferred some inner energy into her hand to nurse her back to health. It doesn't hurt. I just feel a little itchy in my bones. There seems to be a warm stream of air flowing inside. Indeed, after 2 days of Lin Xian's massage, Tangwa could feel that the mobility of her fingers had recovered quite a bit. Previously, her fingers would still feel sore and slightly painful, but these 2 days, she felt less of such symptoms. Actually, he was a little suspicious that the host did not treat it herself so that this guy could perform. Of course, he would not expose this. In these 2 days, Lin Xian would also tell Tangwa stories about him growing up in the mountains. No wonder Brother Xian is so nice and helpful. It turns out that you grew up in such an environment, Tangwa said. Lin Xian was unhappy when he heard this. He quickly said, Actually, it's not like that. I don't help people casually. Oh, then why are you helping me like this? Lin Xian was stunned. Why was he helping her? Was she pretty? He just wanted to help her and was willing to help her? Was it not a good idea to say that? Anyway, he really wanted to help her. As for why, he did not understand at the moment. Because I heard the video of you playing the piano in the past. Lin Xian quickly found an excuse for himself. I realized that you are very talented and I don't want to see you stop here. So, you helped me because of this? Master once told me that in this world, a genius who works very hard because of an accident is the most pitiful. The music notes you play are very beautiful and should continue to exist. Tangwa smiled. Brother Xian, have you heard the story of Shang Zhongyong? I haven't touched the piano for many years. At my best age, without training, I can't reach the level that my teacher once talked about. Now, my hands have not recovered to their best state, and I can't see. The result might disappoint you. What I'm saying is that I hope this beautiful melody will continue to exist, not to reach a certain height. Even if you can't become a world-class pianist, you can still continue to do what you like. If you like something, do it with a happy mood. Even if there's no height, there's depth and affection. Happy music can make people happy when it reaches their ears. Brother Xian, I suspect that you've entered the wrong profession. You shouldn't be an esports player, but a monk full of wisdom. Lin Xian thought to himself, isn't that right? He had almost become a monk last year. He was just one step away. As for now, he was very glad that his teacher and family had stopped him. Otherwise, he would not have been able to see the prosperity of the city and meet her. She wondered if this young man liked her family's Miss Xiaogua. She thought that she was not bad. They were all gamers, so why was there such a huge difference between them? Madame Chan thought to herself as she placed a plate of cut fruits on the table. Then she smiled and prepared to leave. She had to go back and write a text to report what had happened today. Miss Xiaogua, what do you want to eat tonight? Madame Chan turned her head and asked. Her gaze fell on Lin Xian and she said, Xiao Xian, why don't you eat before you leave? Tangwa read out the menu, which included the dishes that she heard from the system about Lin Xian's favorite dishes. Brother Xian, Why don't you eat before you leave? Okay. Lin Xian agreed without hesitation. Zhang Yandong's match was in the morning. Lin Xian had already bought the tickets and calculated the time to pick up Tanghua. So many things had happened between Xiaoguo and Zhang Jiang. In the end, the team even made them a couple. Anyway, I can't accept it. I think so too. Xiaoguo is here too. I wonder if she would feel uncomfortable if she saw it. In my opinion, Zhang Yandong is already engaged, yet he's still trying to be a couple with someone else. Isn't his table manners too ugly? Does he really think that he can do whatever he wants just because Tanghua can't see it? He's still sitting down there. How disgusting. Of course, some of these people were not saying these things because of Tanghua. As mentioned before, Zhang Yandong had trampled many people to death on his way to fame. There were many people who liked him, but there were also many who hated him. Now that they had finally caught hold of a loophole, how could they not make use of it at the crucial moment of the competition? How could Zhang Yandong be worthy of such a good girl? Lin Xian pricked up his ears and listened. When he heard Tanghua say that she didn't care about Zhang Yandong anymore, she had already forgotten about him. Unknowingly, he smiled. This smile was coincidentally caught by Lin Tong. She immediately revealed a meaningful expression. Interesting. No wonder she was wondering why Brother Xian was so free that he would consider everything for Xiaoguo. So this was the reason? The old sago tree was really blooming. Host, Lin Tong seems to have realized that your cutie is interested in you. Just now, she revealed a meaningful expression. From the looks of it, she seems to be very supportive of this development. Tanghua, little Tong is a beautiful girl with good taste. The competition has started, Lin Xian said softly. Then, he automatically became Tanghua's commentator. I want to chat with more like-minded people about. Lu Hong frowned and slapped the back of Tong Huai's head. You're not allowed to say such thoughtless things again. Xiaoguo isn't that kind of person. If she hadn't let Yindong off, Yindong's reputation would have been ruined that month. He knew very well that from Tanghua's position, it would be too easy for her to ruin Zhang Yandong's reputation. As for the fact that Xiaolian had been bombarded with private messages, he suspected that it was done by those who wanted to destroy Zhang Yandong. There's still some time before the next match. Lu Hong took a deep breath. Xiaolian, don't be too bothered by the comments on the internet. Adjust yourself first. Do your best and don't affect the match. At this time, winning is the most important thing. Xiaolian bit her lip and nodded. I will. Then, she passed the phone to Lu Hong. Xiaoguo and I have already broken off our engagement. It's my fault for not telling everyone in time. You didn't do anything wrong. Those people just didn't know and misunderstood. Zhang Yandong comforted her. Xiaolian calmed down a lot. Okay, I will do my best. I won't let you guys down. Lin Tong also noticed that Xiaolian and the others had gone to the backstage. She whispered this to Tanghua. She must have seen the comments on the internet. Coach Lu Hong is probably advising her now. Although it was a little unkind, Lin Tong was very happy. System, he's also very happy. Lin Xian, the comments on the internet have caused extreme comfort. Tanghua, she has to pretend to be calm and maintain a faint smile. Chapter 2017. Xiaolian sat at the back for a while. With the consolation of her teammates, she felt much calmer. Although she still felt uncomfortable, she knew the severity of the situation. Today was the first day that she and Zhang Yandong worked together. She must not let this affect the competition. When she returned to her seat, she instinctively looked at the audience. Tanghua's seat was very conspicuous. It was the best spot to watch. She saw it at a glance. Even though she knew that Tanghua could not see her, she still felt uncomfortable. She returned to her seat stiffly. She could not help but look at the audience. She realized that many of them were looking at her seat. They were holding their phones and whispering to each other. Although she could not hear what they were whispering, she instinctively thought of the words that she had received in her private message. In an instant, her mood was terrible. Zhang Yandong had already broken off his engagement with Tanghua. Why did those netizens who were not clear about the situation like to scold her? The more Xiaolian thought about it, the more aggrieved she felt. Her mind was in a mess, especially those in the audience. They were looking at her and whispering to each other. Most of them were talking about her. I have to say that Xiaolian and Zhangjiang's teamwork is not bad. Although her character is not good, her skills are not bad. Yes, with her teamwork, Zhangjiang did not die at all today. It was all thanks to her protection. Let's not talk about her character in esports. Hopefully, Zhangjiang will be able to perform well in this year's international competition with her teamwork. Xiaolian thought that these people were talking about her and Zhang Yandong, saying that she was shameless. In reality, the audience was more concerned about the current competition. As for the other gossip, they were not that interested. Perhaps they would wait until the competition was over before they talked about Tao Tao. Even if Xiaolian's character was not good, in the esports industry, there were many fans of her skills. They only look at your strength, not who you are. They don't care about these things at all. Who cares who you are? However, because of these whispers, Xiaolian, who had seen the abusive comments in the private messages, was greatly affected. Her previous efforts to mediate were in vain. Lu Hong saw that something was wrong with her and came over to talk to her for a while. Xiaolian was afraid that it would really affect her performance, so she calmed herself down and let her mood recover a little. The second match began. From the start of the match, everyone realized that Xiaolian's coordination was not as good as it was in the previous match. If it weren't for Zhang Yandong's quick reaction, he would have been killed by the enemy several times. During this period of time, Xiaolian made 3 mistakes. The first one was that she didn't use her shield in time, so Zhang Yandong could only exchange a life with the enemy's attacker. If Xiaolian had reacted in time and blocked the damage first, then used her shield on Zhang Yandong, then Zhang Yandong could have escaped successfully in the battle between the two sides. The second mistake was that Xiaolian didn't give her vision in time, so Zhang Yandong was killed by the combination of the local, field, auxiliary, and middle 3. The third mistake was that Xiaolian didn't use her ultimate skill in time and stunned the enemy's 2 attackers. Zhang Yandong, who was fighting the Dominator, only had a quarter of his HP left. In the end, the 2 attackers took the opportunity to kill Zhang Yandong and steal his dragon. Chapter 2018. Each of these 3 mistakes was fatal for a team. It was very likely that they would be defeated by the other team. Xiaolian had not failed to do these things, but she had not done it in time. In other words, Zhang Yandong had been killed before she could react. Because of the first mistake of not using a shield in time, Xiaolian's confidence had taken a hit. Her bad mood, coupled with her panic, made it impossible for her to perform at her best even if she was not weak. A slight lapse in concentration would result in the defeat of a match. This was during the competition. Even if Lu Hong was anxious to pull Xiaolian down, there was nothing he could do. He could only hope that Zhang Yandong could remain calm and think of a way to turn the tables. Zhang Yandong had been in this business for a long time. He believed that the other party would definitely find a chance to turn the tables. Xiaolian's performance made him angry. He also understood that she might have been affected by the previous comments. He had already decided that before the next match, he would not let Xiaolian look at her phone. Xiaolian did not have much experience. It was easy for her to be affected by the outside world. Zhang Yandong did not blame Xiaolian. His expression was very serious, and his mind was very calm. He was looking for a chance to break through and turn the tables. Now, he did not leave his back to Xiaolian. Instead, he immediately changed his plan. He left Xiaolian behind and used an orphan to fight in the jungle. The other teammates saw this and understood what he meant. They did their best to delay the other party. Zhang Yandong's hand speed was very fast, and his positioning was tricky. Every time the other party was fighting with his teammates, he would steal the tower. Xiaolian could no longer cooperate with him. This match was completely against the wind. He had to break the previous fixed pattern of the game, even if this method was very dangerous. But as long as he broke through this situation, he would have a chance to turn the tables. At this point, he was also sweeping the towers very quickly. In less than 5 times, he was able to push down a tower. Previously, The other party had taken advantage of Xiao Lian's weakness and had been looking for a breakthrough with her. They did not expect that while they were chasing Xiao Lian, Zhang Yandong was stealing towers. He was stealing jungles, and the other teammates were guarding the towers. The result was very funny. The other party was actually chasing a support. It was really shocking. After all, this kind of situation basically did not happen. Of course, they, who were at a disadvantage, reacted and went to pin down Zhang Yandong. Zhang Yandong's hand speed and his positioning. Unless the other party had a hard control, the other party, they would not be able to catch him. Xiao Lian, the final victory or defeat depends on you. You must do your best. Xiao Lian, who had been feeling down, felt much better when she saw Wen Yunyang's smile. I will. I won't bring any losses to anyone. During this period, she really did it. She didn't look at her phone or the audience seats. In the third match, although her cooperation was average and not as good as in the first match, she still won in the end. Xiao Lian only heaved a sigh of relief when she saw the location Crystal B. But when she picked up her phone again, she realized that she had received many replies. Furthermore, with Xiao Lian's performance today, it would be strange if they did not get scolded to death. Lin Tong put her phone in her bag and held back her laughter. Thinking of that scene, she wanted to laugh out loud. Host, Lin Tong looked especially happy. Clearly, Zhang Yandong's team had won today. The system asked in confusion. Actually, it also knew that for a mature team like Zhang Yandong's, even if they lost a match in the middle, they would quickly find their weakness and decide on a strategy for the next match. There was more than one strategy. They could deal with sudden situations at any time. It should be said that after losing the middle match, they were already prepared. In the third match, Xiao Lian might still not cooperate well, so they tried their best to minimize her personal impact. No matter what, as long as the team's standard was not on par with theirs, or even surpassed theirs, they would win the third match. Chapter 2021. The result was the same. However, Xiao Lian's performance was better than expected, even though her coordination was still very stiff. At least she did not make that kind of low-level mistake again. However, the viewing effect was not as good. Because mistakes are not allowed in the esports industry, especially such low-level mistakes. No matter what the person's identity is, as long as they make such a low-level mistake, they will be remembered by the esports fans for life. Even if they retire in the future, there will be people who will bring it up from time to time. Unless they are in an absolute disadvantageous position in a certain match and have no chance of making a comeback. Then, with their individual ability, they can lead the team to victory once. This kind of halo can cover up such a small mistake. That's for sure. Very soon, there will be a lot of people going to the team's official Weibo account and asking them to let go of Zhang Yandong and get Xiao Lian out of the team and out of the esports industry. It was supposed to be a perfect debut. As long as they cooperated well, the team would have won the first two matches. Then, Xiao Lian would have a problem with her character and would be scolded by others. However, in the eyes of the esports fans, she was still very impressive and would have gained a large number of fans. If she continued, with her talent, she would have been able to become a legend in the esports industry once again. Unfortunately, she did not grasp this opportunity. Her perfect debut turned into a loss of face. She won the match and lost everything. Because of her cooperation, Zhang Yandong became more exhausted. This was something that Zhang Yandong's fans could not accept. Before this, they were filled with anticipation. What they wanted to see was Zhang Yandong slaughtering everyone. But what was the situation now? Xiao Lian's individual mistake had to be paid for by Zhang Yandong and the entire team. They could not accept this, especially in the last match. Even though Xiao Lian did not make a mistake, her stiff cooperation made them feel uncomfortable. Zhang Yandong's last match was also played very carefully. Everyone knew why he did that. Therefore, if there were no other accidents, Xiao Lian's esports career had come to an end. Of course, If she left the team and played in another team's attacking position, she might have a chance. Xiaogua, do you like what I just said? Lin Xian asked. Tanghua nodded. Listening to Brother Xian's description, I think it's pretty good. Then let's buy them all. It's rare to see such a complete set of figurines. Lin Xian didn't really like these things, but when he was at Tanghua's house, he found that she had a room full of figurines. After asking, he found out that although she did not play games in the past, she liked to collect these beautiful figurines. Since she liked it so much, she definitely wouldn't miss out on today's events. Chapter 2022. What happened? Tanghua asked calmly. Hearing her tone, the system knew that she must have guessed something and was happy about it. Tanghua nodded. That's expected. If I hadn't appeared, she would have had a smooth journey. She would have become a legend in the esports industry. Countless trials and tribulations had created a tenacious and unyielding heart. But I appeared early and she wouldn't have had the chance to train. She would have been eliminated. It wasn't that Xiao Lian wasn't smart. It was just that she had appeared early and prevented Xiao Lian from having the chance to train. Naturally, she wouldn't have been able to achieve what she had in the original plot. Just like in the previous worlds, the female lead of each world might not be a perfect person at the start. But in the end, she would always be perfect, because they would have had enough trials and opportunities. There would have been hardships, but overall, it would have been smooth sailing. Naturally, they would have grown to be what everyone wanted them to be. Once all this was broken, the so-called halo wouldn't be easy anymore. Countless people were shouting for Xiao Lian to get out of the esports industry. Tanghua didn't laugh out loud. Instead, she was very calm. In today's competition, Xiao Lian had already lost. Even if she didn't do anything in the future, Xiao Lian wouldn't be able to get back up. Lin Tong was talking to Tanghua about what had happened. After she was done, she sighed. The esports industry is like this. A small mistake can be remembered for a long time. Xiao Lian is the only female team member. She will have a tough time in the future. Aren't we going to buy figurines? Tanghua asked. Lin Xian quickly said, then we'll buy them. As for Xiao Lian behind them, the three of them didn't have the mood to watch the scene of her being carried into the car by Zhang Yandong. When Zhang Yandong heard those people scolding Xiao Lian, he was furious too, but he couldn't say anything. After all, Xiao Lian had made too many mistakes today. She couldn't blame these people for going crazy. When they sent her back to the club, Xiao Lian was naturally scolded. However, they did not intend to give up on Xiao Lian. They had trained her for so long, and Xiao Lian and Zhang Yandong's cooperation was indeed perfect. Moreover, they were a male and female couple, which was more eye-catching and could make a lot of topics. The club felt that it wasn't worth it to give up just like that, so they planned to continue. Meanwhile, on the internet, countless people were scolding Xiao Lian for being a green tea, a white lotus, and a fake couple with someone who already had a fiancé. They claimed that her skills weren't good enough and that she must have used some special means to be able to compete. As a result, the hashtags #Xiaolian get out of the esports circle hashtag and #Xiaolian mistress hashtag were trending on the internet for 2 days in a row and became more and more popular. In the end, Zhang Yandong couldn't take it anymore. He directly posted a status, stating that he and Tanghua had broken off their engagement. Both of them were free people, and there was no Xiao Lian's mistress. She thought that Xiao Lian would not be scolded anymore. Chapter 2023. Zhang Yandong didn't expect that after he clarified everything, the netizens would scold him even more fiercely. Looking at those scolding words, he was a little dazed and annoyed. For the first time, he felt that these crazy esports fans were a burden. Shameless. This is really the mistress becoming the legal wife. Even the scumbag can't help but come out to protect the mistress. Yeah, since the engagement was already cancelled, why didn't he announce it earlier? Why did he only announce it now? What else could it be? So many things happened before. He was afraid of being scolded by the netizens. After all, Xiaogua did so much for him and treated him wholeheartedly. If he dared to announce the cancellation of the engagement, There would be a huge uproar and his image would be ruined. No wonder Xiaogua hasn't updated for a long time. Oh right, I remember that something happened to Xiao Lian, and she asked Zhang Yandong to go over to help her. After disappearing for a night, Xiaogua didn't update anything, right? I checked just now. It's like this. If that's the case, they probably canceled the engagement at that time. The comments on the internet were getting more and more heated. The people in the club didn't expect Zhang Yandong to clarify the cancellation of his engagement with Tanghua. Previously, Xiao Lian was the only one who was scolded. It wasn't a big deal. After all, Zhang Yandong was in a good situation. But now that he had posted it, wouldn't it be confirmed? Because of Xiao Lian, their engagement was canceled. The matter of Xiao Lian being the mistress couldn't be cleared up. At the same time, Zhang Yandong also received the title of a scumbag. It was impossible to clear his name now. At the club, Zhang Yandong was harshly scolded. He didn't say anything to refute, but Xiao Lian couldn't bear to see him like this. Just as she was about to say something, she was stopped by the sharp-eyed Wen Yunyang. Anything you say now will cause dissatisfaction and trouble for Yandong. Wen Yunyang's voice was very soft. His words made Xiao Lian calm down. This matter has blown up after all. The person in charge of the club looked at Lu Hong. Do you have any thoughts? We can't let Zhang Yandong's reputation continue to be tarnished. Lu Hong's face was full of helplessness. What can we do? No matter how much he did now, no one would believe him. The more you do, the more mistakes you make. The more you say, the more mistakes you make. After all, Zhang Yandong was still young. He naively thought that admitting to the annulment of the engagement would help Xiao Lian prove her innocence. If it was someone else, it would really be possible. However, his former fiancée was Tanghua. The Tanghua who had saved Zhang Yandong, sacrificed everything for him, and liked him wholeheartedly. She was even loved by many esports fans. The entire esports industry knew about their relationship. Chapter 2025. Hearing Lin Xian's serious words, Tanghua pursed her lips and smiled, although she couldn't see the serious expression on his face. But she could feel the persistence and seriousness in his tone. She asked, Brother Xian, you seem to be very persistent about winning. No, I'm just more persistent about winning against Zhang Yandong, Lin Xian answered frankly. Lin Xian answered very calmly. He was already certain that the sound he heard in his dream was the sound of Tanghua's blind stick hitting the ground. Every sound, every pause, every sound that entered his ears made him have no choice but to make a trip to this mortal world. His goal was only for her. Since he had made his feelings clear, and Zhang Yandong had announced the annulment of their engagement, when was he going to do it? Of course, he didn't think it was the right time to confess. He needed to confirm whether Tanghua had completely forgotten about Zhang Yandong. Perhaps he could use step by step to walk into her heart, into her life, and into her life. He could test her step by step. As long as she didn't reject him, it meant that they were interested in each other, and he could confess his feelings. Brother Xian, why are you so persistent about winning against Zhang Yandong? Tanghua asked directly. This made Lin Xian a little flustered. Of course, winning against Zhang Yandong was to let her know that Zhang Yandong was nothing, and that he was quite good. Zhang Yandong had entered the esports scene at the age of 14. He had just started this year, and next year, he would be joining a team to compete. If he won against Zhang Yandong, wouldn't it prove that he was better than Zhang Yandong? Zhang Yandong didn't care about her. He wanted to tell her that even if he stood in Zhang Yandong's position, she was still the most important in his heart. At this point, Lin Xian was stunned, not knowing what to do. Is this question very difficult? It's not difficult, Lin Xian quickly answered. Tanghua smiled. Then why aren't you answering? System. Of course you're afraid of being rejected. Who told you to inherit the original owner's persona and like Zhang Yandong so realistically? This guy was afraid, so he had no choice but to carefully plan step by step. As the saying goes, haste makes waste. Judging from Madame Host's intentions, she wanted to get into a relationship in advance. It was pretty good. Because this answer is somewhat difficult to say, Lin Xian said, "If I answer, I'm afraid I won't be able to come here in the future." "How could that be?" "I still need Brother Xian to help me recover my fingers." Lin Xian was originally pinching Tangwa's knuckles. Suddenly, he wrapped her hand completely in his palm and asked in a low voice, "What about this?" Without waiting for Tangwa's reply, he changed his position so that their palms were pressed together and their fingers were interlocked. Chapter 2026. Then, Brother Xian, please answer my question first. Why do you insist on beating Zhang Yandong? Lin Xian answered without thinking. Because he didn't treat you well. I want to defeat him. I also want him to see the look of regret on his face when you become my girlfriend and I hold you in the palm of my hand. Tangwa giggled. So that's how it is. Then, Brother Xian, you have to work hard. Zhang Yandong's ability is not bad. It's okay for the team competition, but it's different for the individual competition. It's all about one person's ability. I will win. Then, Xiaogua, will you agree to be my girlfriend? Tangwa nodded and smiled. I agree. When he heard her agree, Lin Xian felt an indescribable joy in his heart. Immediately, he wrapped her small hand in his palm and held it with a little force. This time, he really did it openly and openly. He didn't ask if Tangwa still had Zhang Yandong in her heart. These days, he had gotten to know her a little. Even if she did, it would be gone soon. Actually, I've long forgotten about Zhang Yandong. Tangwa took the initiative to say this. Only when you don't care about someone will you be so indifferent. Brother Xian, what do you think? Hearing this, Lin Xian was even happier. He believed her words. Then, he asked a little further. Then, Xiaogua should like me, right? At least a little, right? If you don't like me a little, you probably won't agree. Tangwa smiled. Brother Xian, you're just like what Xiaotong said. You're a very smart person. Yes, I quite like you. Although it's not a lot, I still like you. In the future, I might slowly like you more. Then I'll fight for it. I'll fill your heart with love for me. That day, Madame Chun came over and saw the two of them sitting in front of the piano, playing a piano piece. She smiled with relief. She knew that this bald young man would definitely succeed. Seeing the two of them immersed in the piano, Madame Chun just put the prepared food on the table and didn't remind them. The piano piece would soon end, and the food would not get cold. Sure enough, when the piano piece ended, Tangwa smelled the aroma and asked Lin Xian to take her to eat. On the table, Lin Xian found a note from Madame Chun, saying that she had something to do this afternoon and asked him to take care of Tangwa. He pinched the note and threw it into the trash can. With a smile on his face, he led Tangwa to her seat. Madame Chun has prepared a dish and a soup today. Lin Xian first told Tangwa the name of the dish and described the color. Then he asked her, "What do you want to eat first?" Because Lin Xian was here, Madame Chun didn't prepare the food like before. She didn't cut it all into small pieces, so Tangwa could put it directly into a bowl and eat it with a spoon. After all, she couldn't see. Even if the food was placed in her bowl, it wouldn't be easy for her to pick it up with her chopsticks and put it into her mouth. That was why she used that method. Because Madame Chun took care of everything, Zhang Yandong didn't have to worry at all. Not to mention, he patiently sat aside and helped Tangwa to name the dishes and describe the color of the dishes. He then asked her what she wanted to eat. Even if Zhang Yandong was eating at home, Madame Chun would prepare two kinds of dishes. One was for Zhang Yandong, and the other was for Tangwa. It was very small. Madame Chin's cooking was good. Even if it was small, it didn't affect the taste. Chapter 2027. However, every time she was outside, she would see Tangwa holding a bowl and eating with a spoon. Then, she would see Zhang Yandong sitting at the side without asking her if she wanted to eat something else. She would feel unhappy. However, at that time, the original owner of this body liked Zhang Yandong too much. She thought of herself as a normal person and didn't care so much. Madame Chun didn't leave. Instead, she hid outside and secretly observed. She heard Lin Xian patiently tell Tangwa the names of the dishes. She deliberately didn't make small pieces of food. She could tell that this bald guy was interested in Miss Xiaoguo. Miss Xiaoguo was such a good girl. If there was someone who loved her in this life, how good would that be? She just thought that this guy was good. Whether someone treated you well or not, it was often these small details that were the best indicator. After she told him the names of the dishes, she saw Lin Xian picking up food for Tanghua. Seeing that Tanghua wasn't able to eat, he put the food into her mouth and said, "Let me help you. That will delay Brother Xian's meal. I'll be full later, and the food will be cold." Hearing this, Lin Xian was very happy. He said proudly, "I can multitask." "How can you multitask?" "I can use my right hand to pick up food for you, and use my left hand to eat." Tanghua was a little surprised. "You're that good?" "Of course. I'll put my phone aside and record it. You can ask Madam Chen later." "No, Brother Xian wouldn't lie to me." Hearing this, Lin Xian's heart warmed. He would never lie to her in this life. How could he bear to lie to her? He wasn't a dog like Jiang Yandong. Madam Chen hid at the side and watched in shock. Lin Xian used his right hand to feed Tanghua and used his left hand to feed himself. The two of them were eating and laughing. In the end, she covered her mouth and laughed. She hurried away with tears in her eyes. She had to tell Sir and Madam about this. After taking 2 steps, Madam Chen went back. She took out her phone and recorded a short video before leaving, satisfied. This young man was qualified. Now, Sir and Madam should be able to focus on their research and not worry about Miss Xiaoguo's future. This young man was really good. It must be because Miss Xiaoguo was too kind that the heavens sent him here. After lunch, Lin Xian suggested watching a movie. He did not think that Tanghua could not go to the movies just because she could not see. They could go to the couple's private room and watch the movie while explaining the movie to her. Both of them could feel the charm of the movie, and at the same time, it would not affect others. Tanghua naturally agreed. Sure enough, this was the best way to be in a relationship. Seeing that Tanghua was already immersed in love, the system smiled with relief. This guy was really getting more and more likable. Even if the other party was just a little bit more important to his host in the future, he wouldn't mind. After watching the movie, Lin Xian held her hand and went shopping. They went to the snack street to eat snacks and went to the mall to buy nice clothes and bags. They went to the counter to buy skincare products, perfume, and jewelry. Lin Xian's actions made Tanghua feel that this guy was planning to make up for the first 19 years of not meeting her. Tanghua's hand was tightly held by Lin Xian. Hearing that he was picking out lipstick for her, she hurriedly said, "Other than skincare products for washing your face, you can't use makeup." Chapter 2028. Of course, she didn't say that she didn't want to buy it. System, what a hypocrite. You just want to trick little bald brother into putting on lipstick for you. Xiaoguo, if you want to go out in the future, just let me know. I'll come and help you. Lin Xian was still a little nervous. He didn't know how to put on makeup, but putting on lipstick wasn't a problem. It seemed that he had to go back and ask Xiaotong about it in the next few days. Then I'll have to trouble Brother Xian. It's no trouble at all. Helping my girlfriend put on lipstick and draw her eyebrows is what I should do. As evening approached, Lin Xian hung all the bags on his body and even used one hand to hold Tanghua's hand. Madam Chen calculated the time and finished preparing dinner. Seeing the two of them come back, she almost laughed out loud. This young man was really a treasure. He was actually picked up by her family's Miss Xiaoguo. "Xiaoxian, I have something to do at home. Dinner is ready. Please take care of Miss Xiaoguo." "Madam Chen, go ahead. I'll take care of her." Lin Xian happily replied. Seeing Madam Chen leave with a smile, how could he not understand? After spending half a day happily, Lin Xian said goodbye and left. After returning to the Lin family, he didn't relax. Instead, he went to find Lin Tong and asked her for a favor. "Brother Xian, it's so late. Don't you need your beauty sleep? Do you know how scary it is for a woman to stay awake at 10 at night? I remember that you always come home at 11. It's only 9:30. Xiaotong, I need your help." Lin Tong asked curiously, "What's the matter?" "I want to ask you about how to put on makeup. I feel that the tutorials on the internet aren't good enough. I thought about it, and your skills are pretty good. Since we're family, it's best to ask you." Lin Tong was stunned. Her cousin needed to put on makeup? Brother, you're bald. Why do you need to put on makeup? Lin Xian didn't feel uncomfortable at all and said seriously, Today, I confirmed my relationship with Xiaogua and took her to buy makeup. In the future, when she goes out, I'll have to help her. Most importantly, I only know how to put on lipstick. Xiao Tong, only you can help me with this. Lin Tong was shocked. This was such a big thing, and this guy did it secretly? In the end, Lin Tong agreed. Not only that, she even called a few of her peers over to be her test subjects. For the next few nights, Lin Xian had been learning makeup techniques from Lin Tong and watching makeup tutorials. The few people of the same generation in the family were tormented by them every day. But thinking that this was a major event in Lin Xian's life, they endured and sacrificed themselves. Therefore, when he went on a date with Tanghua again, Lin Xian carefully put on a peach blossom makeup for her. The system was stunned when it saw that skillful technique. She hurriedly told Tanghua, Madam Host, this is amazing. This is amazing. This guy's makeup skills are really good. When he applies the eyeshadow for you, close your eyes and I'll show it to you. When Tanghua closed her eyes, she saw Lin Xian's skillful makeup on the system screen. It's really pretty. Tanghua couldn't help but praise. Her boyfriend was really outstanding. Not only did he put on makeup, Lin Xian also put on beautiful fake nails for Tanghua and combed her hair nicely. The system showed Tanghua the photo. It was really pretty. Although it wasn't good to praise herself like this, she was really pretty. Let's go. This time, Lin Xian still brought Tanghua to watch Zhang Yandong's competition. Before this, Zhang Yandong's team had been victorious and had defeated many teams. Today's competition was the last one in the country. The champion would represent the country to participate in the international competition. He had said before that he wouldn't miss any of Zhang Yandong's competitions. But it was his first time holding such a beautiful girlfriend's hand and going over in such a high-profile manner. When the two of them appeared at the entrance of the competition venue, they attracted a lot of attention. Many people didn't dare to recognize that the person Lin Xian was holding was Tanghua. They secretly took a photo, intending to ask if it was true. Also, was that handsome bald guy Tanghua's new boyfriend? Chapter 2029. For today's competition, Lin Tong did not insist on following Lin Xian. She left some space for the two of them. Lin Xian carefully held Tanghua's hand as they walked into the competition venue. The people around them secretly watched them. After all, Zhang Yandong's matter had blown up in the past few months. As a result, many people recognized Tanghua. Even though she had put on beautiful peach blossom makeup, they could almost confirm that this beautiful girl was indeed Tanghua after observing her closely. However, they did not know who the bald guy holding her hand with a gentle smile on his face was. But from the way the two of them acted so intimately, everyone knew that they were definitely a couple. Seeing the way Lin Xian carefully helped Tanghua to her seat, he really cared for her. The surrounding girls were a little envious. Although the bald guy did not have any hair, he was handsome. Even without hair, he was still handsome. Not only was he handsome, but he was also so gentle and considerate to his girlfriend. How many boys could do this in this day and age? They did not delve into why Tanghua had a new boyfriend. Counting the time, it had been a few months since her engagement with Zhang Yandong was officially called off. It had been a few months. Wasn't it normal for her to meet such a gentle boyfriend and develop a romantic relationship? Thinking back to the month when the engagement was called off, Tanghua had recorded a very intimate moment between her and Zhang Yandong. They felt that something was amiss. Since the engagement was already called off, why did she still record that kind of video? The more they thought about it, the more they felt that something was amiss. Could it be that the club had asked her to compromise because Zhang Yandong had been scolded so badly? Thinking of this, many people felt a little displeased. At the same time, he also remembered one thing. The two deleted videos of Tanghua, although many people saved them on the internet, she still deleted them. They did not suspect that Tanghua had an ulterior motive for clarifying to the audience that it was a misunderstanding. There could only be one reason, and that was to help Zhang Yandong. There was no anger in their hearts, only pity. Therefore, seeing that Lin Xian, her new boyfriend, was so nice to her. Those who knew her felt happy. Speaking of which, I've never seen Jiang Yandong holding Tang's hand like this before. Now that you mention it, I also realize that she and Jiang Yandong have never been so close. Maybe it was right to cancel the engagement. Not only were there people who were interested in divination talking about it, but there was also a heated discussion online about the picture of Tangwa being led into the competition by Lin Xian. At this time, Lin Xian was commentating the competition with Tangwa. Neither of them was in the mood to pay attention to what was happening on the internet. Xiaolian had also adjusted her mentality. Although her cooperation was not as perfect as during training, she did not make any mistakes and was not stiff. It was still worth watching. Because of her performance, the fans' resistance against her was slightly reduced. However, in the live stream room, there were still a lot of people boycotting Xiaolian. They wanted Xiaolian to get out of the esports scene, and some even more vicious words appeared. Because of the previous incident, the club had also learned to be smart. Before the competition ended, they made a rule that all the members were not allowed to touch their phones to avoid being affected by the strange comments on the road. Unsurprisingly, Jiang Yandong's team won again this time. Because the other team was also very strong, they had a total of 3 matches. Chapter 2030. Jiang Yandong's team had won the first and third matches to obtain the final victory. As for Linli's team, they had won third place in the domestic competition. This result wasn't bad. After all, their team was either third or second place. They had never been able to win the championship. Linli's team wasn't discouraged. They played esports for fun, not for fame and fortune. They were born at a place where others couldn't even reach. They entered this industry because they liked it. However, they still felt a little regretful if they didn't win at least one championship. Now, the whole world was playing this game. Hence, in every country, only the team that won the championship could participate in the international competition. There were no exceptions. Linli's team had 2 regrets. First, they didn't win a domestic championship. Second, they didn't participate in an international competition. If they could fulfill these 2 wishes, they wouldn't have any regrets in the esports industry. Lin Xian and Tangwa had discussed this. At that time, he had even said to Tangwa, "I think that Brother Lei and the rest will be able to fulfill this wish next year." Not only that, but as long as Jiang Yandong is in the esports industry, the champions in the country will definitely be me and Brother Lei. When Tangwa had heard this, she had only laughed and said, "I believe in Brother Xian. As long as Brother Xian is in the esports industry, the championship will be yours." At that moment, when Lin Xian heard this, he felt that he had to practice martial arts in the game seriously. To practice martial arts, one had to maintain good physical fitness and the flexibility of their joints. They also had to do more math problems and train their reflexes so that they wouldn't fall behind younger players in the future. Everyone knew that in this industry, the younger the better. The career of an esports player was very short. Under normal circumstances, they would retire before the age of 30. Many players were below the age of 25. After playing for a few years, they either went behind the scenes, became streamers, or changed careers. This was an industry that depended on one's youth. However, it was different for him. His inner strength and martial arts could slow down the aging of his body. Doing math problems could keep his mind sharp and not stiff and slow down his reflexes. Lin Xian felt that he had too many things to do. After the competition, Lin Xian didn't want to bring Tangwa to squeeze in with the crowd. He was afraid that she would be squeezed. Therefore, the 2 of them sat with their fingers interlocked, not in a hurry at all. Even though many people turned to look at them, they still whispered to each other, intending to wait for the others to leave before going out. When most of the people had left, the 2 of them became very conspicuous. The members of Jiang Yandong's battle team all discovered the existence of the 2. Seeing the intimate appearance of the 2, they all had different expressions. Xiaolian heaved a sigh of relief when she saw this. Did Tangwa have a new boyfriend? If that was the case, it would be impossible for her to reconcile with Jiang Yandong. Tong Hui merely glanced at him before looking away in disdain. If it weren't for the fact that he was in a good mood today and that Lu Hong was glaring at him, he probably would have said a few words. Forget it, let's not talk about it today, lest it spoils everyone's mood. It would be the international competition soon. Players from other countries would come to their place, so they wouldn't make the coach angry. As for Jiang Yandong, he had a complicated look in his eyes. At a glance, he noticed that Tanghua was different. She had become prettier. Her makeup today was very beautiful. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.